Talked to Darryl Strawberry today about the All-Star team and his thoughts on whether or not the fans should vote for the All-Star team.
I think it's very unique that the fans vote for the All-Star players. They look forward to choosing the best players in the game. It's tough to choose which players you think is the best, but I'm really excited about their voting, and I'm very pleased that the fans get the opportunity to vote for players. And it's a good thing for the fans. They come out to watch you play, so they know who's doing the best out there and who's giving their best effort to what they have to do, and they choose the best players in the game, and I'm very pleased with that.
Well, Darryl Strawberry talking about the All-Star team, and I feel also the fans should get an opportunity to vote, Steve.
Well, there's a lot of criticism, Fran, because, for example, Keith Hernandez having a great year, an all-star year. Steve Garvey also having a good year, but not as good a year as Keith, and he's not the defensive first baseman that Keith is and has been this season. But Garvey, by virtue of playing in Los Angeles all those years, twice as many votes as Hernandez at first base. Well, you know, purely from a year and statistical standpoint, that's not right, but it's great for the fans to vote for the popular players.
You know, Steve, once in my career, I almost had the good fortune of making that team in 1974. And really, because of the fans, I didn't, but I think they should vote. Really, it didn't bother me. Of course, it gave me 3 days off. By the way, there's our defense for the New York Mets tonight. Behind the plate, Ron Hodges at first base, Keith Hernandez, Wally Backman at second base, Ron Gardenhire, the shortstop, Hubie Brooks at third, George Foster in left field, Mookie Wilson in center field, and Darryl Strawberry out in right field. And of course, on the mound, the phenom. He's done it all. Dwight Gooden. He won 6, lost 5, 2.89 ERA, 96.23 innings pitched, struck out 113. That's good enough for number 2 in the league. And base on balls, only 40 with Steve Zabriskie. That's a shock.
It is. And the lineup he'll be facing for the Houston Astros, Bill Doran, the second baseman, will lead it off, the switch hitter. Craig Reynolds, who's been red hot and very consistent this year, bats from the left side, and he'll play short and bat second. Denny Walling will be at third base, batting third. A hard-hitting Jose Cruz in left field, batting fourth. Jerry Mumphrey tearing him up in center field, batting fifth. Enos Cabell, who's come back to the Astros and helped them a great deal, he'll be at first base, batting sixth. Terry Poole, the right fielder, will bat seventh, hitting over 300. Switch-hitting catcher Mark Bailey will be behind the plate and bat eighth. And former Met Mike Scott will oppose Dwight Gooden tonight on the mound and bat ninth for Houston.
By the way, we also talked to Keith Hernandez tonight about his feelings on the fans voting for the All-Star team.
All right. Okay. Well, I think the fans should vote. I think a lot of players get upset about the voting, and I used to get upset, but I think it's good that the fans are involved. And what makes it okay with me is the fact that the managers pick the reserve players, and that's fine.
Well, you just heard from a guy that should be on the All-Star team, an outstanding first baseman. He's done it consistently throughout his career, and the big surprise in his life, I suppose for everybody but Keith Hernandez, Steve Zabriskie, is that he wasn't drafted till late in the free agent draft.
Something like the 47th round, and it's hard to believe that many clubs, every club virtually, would think that Hernandez would not be the kind of player, at least almost the kind of player that he has become.
And we talked about the trade bringing Hernandez to New York. I think it might go down in history as one of the most important trades made by the New York Mets. He not only is a great first baseman, a good hitter, but I think his presence on the ball club is so very important.
You could tell the first day he came last year that he solidified the infield.
Well, right now, Dwight Gooden will face the leadoff man, Bill Doran. Doran with a .247 average, 1 home run, 20 RBIs. Fastball up high, ball 1. So Dwight Gooden starting Doran off with that overpowering fastball. Second-year player in the big leagues, Doran, and he takes ball 2, 2 balls and no strikes.
You saw that stat on Bill Doran hitting .432 over the last 12 games. In those last 12 games, the Astros have scored 89 runs.
The Astros playing good ball as Doran takes a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Made the all-rookie team as a second baseman last year. He's been a surprise to the Houston Astros. In fact, they moved Phil Gardner from second base to third to make room for him. And he fly ball left center field. Mookie Wilson cannot get it. That's extra bases. Foster picks up the ball. Doran heading for third. The throw, not in time. A triple for the Astros leadoff man, and a nice effort by Mookie Wilson, but to no avail.
Bill Doran now tied for 5th place in the National League. This is his 6th triple of the year. Mookie committed himself to catch this ball, but then he couldn't. He had no chance with the angle he was going to catch the ball on a hop and have it fall in. And by the time, of course, Foster retrieved it on the warning track the way Doran runs, it wasn't even a close play. Mookie making a valiant effort, but valiant efforts are just that. Field batting second. Keith Hernandez still red hot at first base batting third. Darryl Strawberry plays right field and bats fourth. George Foster in left batting fifth. His 300 career home run yesterday. Hubie Brooks bats sixth and play third. Ron Hodges will catch and bat seventh. Ron Gardenhire will play short and bat eighth. And of course Dwight Gooden bats ninth. Dutch Rennert behind the plate. Steve Ripley at first. Eric Gregg at second. And crew chief Lee Wire down at third.
And leading off for the Mets will be Wally Backman. He'll be followed by Mookie Wilson and then Keith Hernandez. 1-0, the Astros on top of the Mets. 2 hits for the Astros in the first off Dwight Gooden, and Backman fouls the ball back into the seats. Strike one. By the way, on that play, that Cruz was cut down trying to go back to second base. Interesting rule in the rule book. He overran the base and then tried to get back. They tagged him out attempting to get back. It scored a double. Now, if there was a play at second base and he would overslide the base and try to get back, and they would have caught him, it'd have been a single. So if you want to be a selfish player and you hit the ball out there, you better run. Forget sliding into the bases.
Overrun it on purpose.
That's
if you
right.
see you're going to be out, don't slide.
And Backman takes inside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Mike Scott 1-2 with a 5.24 ERA for his career against the Mets. So that record similar to his season record this year.
And there's a chopper to second base. Doran over to first. 1 out. Well, Mookie Wilson's the next batter. We also talked to Mookie before the game about the fans voting for the All-Star team.
Well, about fans voting for the All-Star game, I think it's good in a way that the fans get to participate in an annual classic like that. There are some things that are overlooked, as well as some ball players and stuff. And I think that it should be left up to sometime the coaches and the managers also, but the fans' participation is welcome.
All right, Mookie Wilson. And Mookie batting .279, 5 home runs, 22 RBIs, and he swings through a fastball, strike one. Dwight Gooden's fans, and I should say the New York Mets, winning will do wonders as Mumphrey takes a strike. By the way, talking about wonders, Jerry Mumphrey batting .296, 6 home runs, 46 RBIs. Doing a great job after leaving the Yankees and heading out to Texas. Gooden to Hernandez, 1 down. As Jerry Mumphrey traded for Omar Marino, both guys were disenchanted with their surroundings last year.
Which is really kind of unusual, since they both chose to go to those 2 ball clubs.
That's right.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and Sports Channel is prohibited. The announcers on this telecast are selected by Sports Channel and approved by the New York Mets.
And Enos Capel takes a strike. Big curveball from Dwight Gooden. The thing you marvel at is not Dwight Gooden's fastball, but his command of his fastball and his great curveball, which he also throws over the plate. There's guys 30 years old that can't control that curveball the way this guy can. Boy, there's a piece of cheese that really took off. Whoa.
That's high cheese. Well, Dwight has not had that curveball. Look at this fastball. It just takes off. At times this season, in fact, in the ball game in Los Angeles, when he struck out 14 Dodgers and shut them out 2-0, he said that after the first couple innings, he knew he didn't have it, so he just forgot about it and threw all fastballs.
Oh, not too many guys can do. Oh, what a curveball right there. Now, that ball was up, but that ball just kept biting.
You don't see too many players nowadays who throw this classic Uncle Charlie. That breaking down. Most pitchers who throw a curveball today would throw what you call a slur, half slider, half curve. Dwight has a classic breaking ball. And the first K goes up.
When he does that, you don't have to say anything. Rhetoric is superfluous.
Try to hit an aspirin tablet. That's about what it's like.
These guys really enjoying themselves here at Shea. They're busy this year with this kid pitching, Dwight Gooden. Well, 2 outs, and the batter now Terry Poole. Batting .307. 2 home runs, 27 RBIs. Boy, Gooden has a real good fastball. Usually when you're wild high like that, you're a power pitcher and you're trying to overthrow the ball. Your body gets way out in front and your arm never catches up. Consequently, your release point is high. And that would happen, I think, a lot to a power pitcher. 1-1.
You know, with most pitchers, Fran, you want them as a hitter to get the ball up in the strike zone for you. With Dwight, when he gets in trouble, he gets down in the strike zone.
That's right. Ball foul out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, you really have to sit on Dwight Gooden's fastball. Certain pitches you can guess, but you'd have to be out of your mind to guess against Dwight Gooden unless you're up in a count or you're just starting off and it's the first pitch. You can have a pretty good idea, but this guy gets ahead of you. He's got you. You're in trouble. You got to sit on the heater and try to adjust to the curve. Oh, strike 3. This crowd's wild here. Dwight Gooden here in the second inning faced 3 Astros, struck out 2, so 3 up, 3 down, and after 1.5 to score, Houston 1, the Mets nothing. Well, Darryl Strawberry will lead it off for the Mets. Strawberry batting .266, 9 home runs, 34 RBIs. It's the bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Astros on top of the Mets. And Mike Scott's first pitch, a strike. You got to stay with us here on Sports Channel. Gooden mania here at Shea Stadium. This place loves Dwight Gooden. And what a reaction he gets when he strikes out a batter. Right now, the count on Darryl Strawberry, 1 ball and 1 strike. Two balls and 1 strike.
You know, Fran, we talk about Dwight, we talk about the inflated ERAs that we've seen here. Mike Scott certainly higher than it should be, but the Houston Astros lead the National League in pitching as a team with a 3.04 ERA. That's not too bad.
No. 3-1. You know, Steve, over the years, they've had good pitching. In fact, they've had good teams that have been a surprise to the players in the National League. They couldn't figure out why the Astros could not win. They were always the dark horse candidate. There's a drive, left field, way back, off the wall. Cruz in pursuit, and Strawberry's going for 3. Should be close, and then and he's safe. A triple for Darryl Strawberry.
Darryl comes just within a fraction of an inch on the bat of getting this ball out of here. Cruz gave it a good try all the way back to the wall, but he didn't get all the way back, and the ball did. Darryl, of course, who runs so very well with nobody out leading off the inning, going to third base, and Denny Walling trying to put the tag on him, but it was too late. See Cruz very close to catching the ball, but he didn't get back to the wall. And Dutch Rennert, the home plate umpire, quite properly comes all the way to third base to make the call, because third base umpire Lee Wire had to go out to see if it would be a home run or not.
And surprisingly, Darryl Strawberry's first triple of the season.
That is somewhat of a surprise.
Yeah, because he can run. He's going to hit a lot of triples. Right now, a guy who had a big day yesterday hit his 300th home run of his career. George Foster, the batter, batting .224, 11 home runs and 35 RBIs. With those stats, George can still have a good season. It's been frustrating so far, and he swings through a fastball, strike 1.
There's been some discussion that perhaps George's slump was enhanced a bit by his trying to get that 300th home run. It took him nearly a month.
I concur with that. I think
it's not like breaking Babe Ruth's record or anything, but he's only the 48th player to hit 300.
That's right. And some guys personally can, it's not blown out of proportion, but they can blow it out of proportion, put that extra pressure on themselves.
Especially when you go a couple of weeks and you don't get it.
That's right.
Then it starts to build.
I never had to worry about it, Steve, believe me.
Nor I.
300 home runs. It's a lot of home runs. No balls and 1 strike on George Foster.
Pretty
good breaking ball right there. 0-2. They say as you get older, a batter tends to adjust to the breaking ball better. He loses his quickness as a hitter goes. He loses his quickness with the bat for a fastball. There's Darryl Strawberry leading off third base. Nice try right there, 1-2.
Well, Mike wanted George to chase that ball down and away, which is something Foster has been doing. George has not been a good hitter with 2 strikes on him. And when he does get behind in the count, he is susceptible to that breaking ball. He must be in the in-between category. He hasn't made that transition yet.
And the 1-2 pitch. George pulls the ball foul. Yeah, I can remember Willie Mays with the San Francisco Giants late in his career talking in a clubhouse meeting. He was about 39, 40 years old. He said, we were talking about Darren Johnson at the time, how to pitch to him. He said, throw him hard stuff. He said he's older now, and he can adjust to the breaking ball, not as much to the fastball. And Willie was speaking from experience at the time.
Mike Scott can throw hard.
And the 1-2 pitch, good fastball, strike 3. He does have a good fastball.
And he uses it right there to illustrate the point you were making, Fran. May or may not have been out of the strike zone. It was close enough to swing at with 2 strikes, that's for sure.
So Mike Scott getting a big out. George Foster, the batter now, Healy Brooks. He's having an outstanding season, batting .306, 9 home runs, and 30 RBIs. I mentioned earlier, he's 10th in the National League in hitting, and there's Darryl Strawberry leading off third base. 1 out. And a chopper to short. It goes through Reynolds. And Strawberry scores. Brooks is heading for second base. Good hustle by Healy Brooks. And this game is tied at 1 apiece, and these fans are happy.
Hubie never taking anything for granted and certainly having the play in front of him. What happens when you play the infield in is that you raise the batting average of the batter somewhere around anywhere, depending on the batter, from 10 to 70 points. Hubie never stopped, and to his credit, goes into second base, putting himself in scoring position. It is an error on Craig Reynolds, so no RBI.
So it's all tied 1 apiece here at Shea Stadium, and the batter, Ron Hodges. Hodges batting .154, no home runs, 3 RBIs. I'm sure the reason he's in his game tonight is to catch Dwight Gooden. And he takes ball 1.
Well, it helps to have an experienced catcher when you've got a young pitcher, obviously. And there were some who have questioned Davy Johnson's playing Mike Fitzgerald as much as he does with the young staff he's had. But Mike has come up with these guys, and that's an advantage for him.
And he's done a fine job. And, of course, having Keith Hernandez at first base, you can use a young catcher. And Hodges takes inside 2-0, because Hernandez can walk over there and say the same things that a catcher can say. As you look at Davy Johnson, a catcher should really call the game, try to set up the hitters, and really build the confidence of the pitcher, but stay away from the mechanics. 2 balls, no strikes on Ron Hodges. And he pulls the ball foul.
You know, Fran, there may be another factor as to why Hodges is playing tonight. And it has come into play from time to time over the last couple of weeks. Mike Fitzgerald, for the last almost 2 months, has been bothered by an inflamed bursa sac, it's called, around his left knee. And nothing is tougher on, as you well know, on the knees than catching.
Well, that's one thing. I was fortunate, never had too many problems with the knees, but I know a lot of catchers that did. In fact, a lot of legs broken in collisions at home plate. The 2-1 pitch to Hodges, and there's a looper in the center field, base hit. Healy Brooks will hold on at third base, and Ron Hodges will hold on at first. So it's first and third with 1 out.
Well, Hubie had to play this ball halfway, because with Mumphrey's speed and from Hubie's position, it's hard for him to tell at first whether or not Mumphrey's going to be able to get to it. So he had no chance to score on the play. Runners at first and third. Bullpen, I would have to believe it is Ruhle. You would think in this case they would bring in a left-hander to face Strawberry. But I don't know that Houston has a middle inning left-hander right now. They, of course, have Frank DiPino, who's a tough left-handed pitcher, but he's used primarily in the late innings, and we're only in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, and it's 3-1. The Mets with the lead right now. What they want this guy to do is come in the game and stop it, put out the fire. Of course, long men have been known to come into the game and pour kerosene on the fire. In fact, one of the reasons that guys, well, there's a few reasons why he's a long man. One is he's trying to get into the big leagues as a starting pitcher. He's a big prospect, and they figured they'll get his feet wet by making him a long man. Another way you end up being a long man is when you're ineffective as a starter and also as a short man. So they say, okay, we're going to keep him with the club and let's make him a long man.
There's no other place for him to go.
Right.
Well, Mike Scott leaves the game, and we'll give you his numbers. He has pitched 4 1/3 innings. He has allowed to this point 3 runs, given up 6 hits. He has struck out 1 and walked 1. That was an intentional walk just now to Hernandez. He is, of course, responsible for all 3 runners on base, as well as the losing pitcher of record at this point in the ball game. Vern Ruhle, on the other hand, is 1-5, 3.67 ERA. This is his 23rd appearance. He has made 5 starts. He has 2 saves. He's pitched 61 1/3, walking 24 and striking out 47.
I remember facing this guy when he was with the Tigers. He had good stuff. He threw a heavy sinker. And even when he got that ball up high, it was heavy. There's a happy Mets dugout. Hubie Brooks, very happy after a couple unhappy seasons here in New York. So the Mets playing good baseball. In fact, they're playing solid, fundamental baseball. Good defense, good pitching. And if they get some hitting from Strawberry and from Foster, look out.
Who knows? Well, this week, Sports Channel looks back at World Series highlights. Relive Al Kaline and the Tigers World Series in '68 tonight at 10:30. And then it's a shaydown for the amazing Mets in '69 tomorrow night at 10. So stay with Sports Channel and relive World Series excitement all week. Check local listings for the date and time in New England. Well, the wave begins again. Eddie Lynch seeing how many baseballs he can get in his hand. That's one of the great bullpen games.
Yeah.
Lynch is doing it in the dugout.
Great to be playing with a ball club that's winning, isn't it?
A lot looser.
Oh, boy.
Eddie's trying to hold 8. He's only made 7 so far.
He's having a bad night.
And apparently it did. And I think the Mets, although the harsh words weren't really there from the beginning, have made the most of that good attitude they had from the beginning of spring training.
And this guy's one of the reasons, Dwight Gooden. Gooden mania here at Shea Stadium. 1 ball, 1 strikes, 1 out. Dwight Gooden has struck out 9 batters in this ball game.
What's the quote that Yogi's attributed to Yogi? I don't know if it's a Yogiism or not, but 85% of this game is half mental.
Only the yoke. There's a foul ball out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You talk about those closed-door meetings where the manager can say some harsh words. Sometimes it's very beneficial. Other times the manager gets punched in the head. I've seen some bad scenes in those meetings. I like the meetings where they give out coffee and donuts. I didn't care what they talked about. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Well, he had a pretty good pitch right there. Pulled it foul. Usually when they make a good pitch on you like that, with 2 strikes, you'd like to stay up there as a batter. If you can foul it off, you're happy.
Well, that's the sign of a good hitter, too. The good hitters will foul those pitches off. The 220 hitters will be carrying their bat back to the dugout because they'll go ahead and swing at them anyway.
You don't like 220 hitters, eh?
No, I don't mind them. Just that
all right.
they're less likely to foul those pitches off.
That's right. This guy here is a 300 hitter, Terry Poole. And batting 7th, which is unusual. Down low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Boy, this kid here has been something else. Davey Johnson has had confidence in him since he saw him for the first time, and now he's in the big leagues at 19. Fly ball, shallow center. You heard him call for Moot, and he got it. 2 down.
Dwight Gooden has struck out 9 through the first 6 2/3. And as we mentioned at the top of the telecast, he has 5 games this year in which he has struck out 10 or more. So he's right on pace.
Yeah, he can throw. Great fastball, great curveball. Some guys can strike you out. They have that overpowering fastball. The thing I like about this kid is he always keeps the ball club in the game. It's always close. I think what he needs now, though, is to get a bunch of wins. You know, it's nice when you're pitching well, your ERA's down, you're striking out a lot of hitters. but it's more satisfying when you have victories.
Well, in all fairness and candor, Dwight Gooden could very easily right now be about 9-2 or 8-3 at the very worst. He's only really had 2 bad outings.
That's right, and he would feel even better because it's nicer when you get the victory than when they come in and pat you in the back and say, stay with him, we'll get you some runs next time.
His record could be 8-3 very easily.
1 ball, no strikes, and Mark Bailey, who's 0 for 2. He popped the second base and struck out. And another fly ball. Mookie Wilson's about to tie a record. 3 putouts in an inning. The fans here responding to one of the most popular players on the Mets, Mookie Wilson, and Gooden here in the 7th for the Astros. 3 up, 3 down.
Over 24,000 in the house here at Shea. Not bad for a Monday night, and just under 22,000 paid. 21,923 the paid crowd. 24,409 total.
And Ron Gardenhire will bat right now. He'll lead it off in the bottom of the 7th. It's 3-1. The Mets on top of the Astros. Vern Ruhle pitching for the Astros, and Gardenhire takes ball 1. By the way, Vern Ruhle's major league total 63 wins, 66 losses. I thought he was going to be much better when he came up with Detroit. He threw the ball very well. They need some luck in this game. There's the wave. Yeah, that is a weak wave. What happened?
Well, I think that's a boat wake.
And Gardenhire fouls the ball back on the screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's something you rarely see today. A guy bunting for a base hit.
I don't think you see it enough.
That's right.
With certain players and certain situations. Mookie Wilson, for one, is a player who could do it more often.
Good point. To come out of a slump, if you can bunt it. You get on base, it makes you feel better. You go to the plate the next time, you relax. 2 balls and 2 strikes in Gardenhire. Just took a curve ball down low. And there's a line drive base hit into right center field. Gardenhire with there he goes for 2. Good hustle by Gardenhire. I know why Davey Johnson is stuck with this kid.
Well, the Astros are playing on natural grass for the first time in a while. They just finished the season on the turf in Philadelphia. And Terry Poole does not make many errors, but he makes one here as he just mishandles the ball. It's a base hit and an error, allowing Gardenhire to go to second, the 3rd error in the ball game on the Houston Astros.
And you know, Steve, I believe that Gardenhire was going all the way. I think he had double on his mind. Good hustle by Gardenhire. One of the reasons the Mets are doing so well this year. It's solid baseball, good hustling team, defense and pitching.
Aggressiveness.
That's right. And here's a guy that's aggressive. He's on the right side of the plate again, Dwight Gooden. And he takes ball 1. You're watching all the action live from Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. All on Sports Channel. There's the line score. Mets 3, Astros 1. Gooden mania here at Shea Stadium. Dwight Gooden, the batter.
And Frank DePino, the left-handed reliever, up for Houston. Vern Ruhle is a scheduled leadoff batter in the top of the 8th.
And once again, ball bunted by Gooden. And Gooden does it again. Oh, no. I got to see that again. Close play at first base. No argument from the Mets, but very close as Vern Ruhle held the ball.
Well, similar play as to when Gooden bunted for a base hit in the previous inning. A little too much thinking by Vern Ruhle. Does he get him? The ball is not in the glove. The ball must beat the runner. The rule doesn't really state that the tie goes to the runner. It says that the ball must beat the runner to the bag. Dwight Gooden looked to be safe on the replay, but he's called out by Steve Ripley, the first base umpire.
And Dwight Gooden right now will get a chance to rest in the Mets dugout. There's a runner on third base, Ron Gardenhire. A big run. It's a 3-1 ball game. We're in the 7th inning. The Mets on top of the Astros.
I would assume, although I didn't see the scoring, that they've awarded Gooden a sacrifice.
Yeah, I would have to give him a sacrifice, no doubt about it. A nice bunt. Good heads-up running by Ron Gardenhire. It wasn't a nice bunt. It did the job. 1 out, back from the batter. He takes strike 1. Backman in this ball game is 1 for 3, grounded to second base, fly to center field, doubled, a big double, driving in 2 RBIs.
Wally now with 7 RBIs in the last 11 games.
So now he's starting to think like an RBI hitter. Let's see what he does here. Big run on third base, and the infield in. Steve mentioned before, it'll add points to your batting average.
He cuts down those angles. ball will get on the fielder so quickly that a ball hit just a few feet away from a fielder in this situation will usually be a base hit. But the Astros cannot afford to give up any more runs as Gardenhire is at third with 1 out.
Interesting. You just saw Bobby Valentine go over and whisper, could this be a deke or could it be a bunt? I bet it's a deke. And there's the ball. 2 balls, 1 strike. You know, on the squeeze play, they have a signal from the coach to the hitter. The hitter signals back that he has it because it's a dangerous play. And the coach usually says something, some type of verbal sign to the runner that everything's set to go. And Bobby walked over there, maybe trying to deke the Astros.
I guarantee he wasn't whispering, though, because Gardenhire never would have heard him in here.
Yeah, this place is jumping tonight, and there's the bunt. Oh, excellent play. And great hustling base running by Wally Backman. Boy, talk about executing the squeeze play. And it's real tough with a left-handed batter up because you have the pitch out. And there's the happy New York Met bench.
Another RBI for Backman as he beats it out. He had a tough pitch to bunt at, but he stayed with it and got the ball down. Just a fine effort by Backman, who then probably had the throw beaten even if Cabell had come up with it. But the ball squirted by. Would have been a very close play. Wally's 3rd RBI of the ball game and his 11th on the year.
And the batter now is Mookie Wilson. Wilson 0 for 3 in his ball game. Wally Backman leading off first base. Squeezing in a big 4th run. I believe he's going. There he goes. Mookie swings through the ball. Nice throw by Bradley or Bailey. Excellent throw by Mark Bailey to cut down Wally Backman. And Backman gets a standing O here at Shea. Nice throw by Mark Bailey, really, because Mookie Wilson was all over the place with that bat.
Well, Backman and the rest of the Mets have not been thrown out very often this year. The Mets stealing at a 79% success rate.
With that type of percentage, I'd send everybody as Mookie swings through another breaking ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Mookie fell down, in fact, swinging at that ball. Bailey made a perfect throw.
And you know, you just mentioned how he fell down. That's very distracting to a catcher. There's a lot of things that can distract you there. And Mookie hits a chopper. This should be close. Forget it. Mookie Wilson just ran an out into a base hit.
Oh, what legs. Pounded right in front of the plate. Reynolds does all he can do, fields and throws, but Mookie busts it down there and beats it by a good step. Do or die play. He comes up with it. Had to bring the ball across his body, but even at that, Mookie running from the left side is hard to get. And I've got to believe Mookie will be headed for second base.
Yeah, the way
however, excuse me, Fran, with Hernandez up, they might want to give him a chance to hit the ball through the hole.
Good point, but the way Davey Johnson has been managing, Steve, I would not be surprised, as you mentioned, Mookie Wilson in motion. I'll tell you, I'd move him. The hole's nice, but it's not that important.
Well, they're 2 out, too.
I'd still run him.
2 out is a good time to run.
Yeah.
If he gets thrown out, you've got Hernandez to lead off the next inning.
There's Davey Johnson.
Hernandez a good clutch hitter, and if you get him to second base with 2 out, Hernandez can have a better shot at driving him in.
Good point. Hernandez right now, 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs. Mookie with the lead. He does not go, and Hernandez takes ball 2, 2-0.
Well, if Mookie's going to go, it's a good time to go, because you got to believe there's no pitch out on now.
I tell you, if this guy calls a pitch, he's got a lot of guts. He better be right.
Looks like a breaking ball.
There goes Mookie, big jump. And you're right, it was a breaking ball. Good throw once again by Mark Bailey. Well, the Astros have a secret. Walk the guy, let him get on first, and then throw him out at second base. For the Mets, here in the 7th, they fail to score. And at the end of 7, the score, Mets 4, Astros 1.
Astros go to the bench, trailing 4-1 in the top of the 8th inning. Bass hitting .242 on the year with a home run and 17 RBIs. is 3 for 19 with 2 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
And Bass will be facing the red-hot Dwight Gooden to score here at Shea Stadium. The Mets 4, the Astros 1. Astros scored 1 in the first. The Mets came back with 1 in the second, 2 in the fifth, and 1 in the bottom of the seventh. So it's 4-1. Mets on top of the Astros. 10 hits for the Mets and 5 hits for the Astros. And Bass takes strike 1 from Dwight Gooden. As the wave goes into action here, as Ralph Kiner says, the Flushing wave.
Say the other night it was like a tidal wave.
When Gooden was pitching on Friday night against the Expos. Oh, I'd like to be a pinch hitter against this guy.
What an Uncle Charlie that was.
Toughest thing in baseball is the pinch hit. And that's if you got a guy that you can hit.
Gives him some dead red, and then he brings back that big jug.
0-2 pitch. Inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Right now, Dwight Gooden has 9 strikeouts. One and 2. If he gets the black there, it's over. A lot of left-handed hitters like that ball down and in. With 2 strikes, your mind has you thinking about the ball out over the plate, protect the plate. If you can get that fastball down and in, forget it. Especially this guy's fastball.
If he gets it in on the hands, there's no way you can get around it.
Foul out of play. Count stays 2 balls and 2 strikes. As Steve mentioned earlier, you can still get season tickets for the rest of this season. Shea Stadium seems to be a happening. Look at the boys from the press.
The members of the Fourth Estate.
Oh, yes.
There seem to be a few more of them here as well. Dwight is pitching.
Oh, boy, it's jammed. Even when just the Mets are out there without Dwight, the Mets playing good baseball. As we mentioned, 1 game out of first place. By the way, the Cubs and the Padres, they tied at 1 in San Diego in the 6th inning. Number 10.
He never had a chance. And they're loving it. This is the 6th game of his 16 starts that Dwight Gooden has now struck out 10 or more batters in 1 game.
This young man can really pitch. And he'll face Bill Dorn, who tripled and scored a run in the first and then struck out twice. So he's 1 for 3, and he takes ball 1. Dorn, once again, the type of hitter, just puts the bat on the ball. These are the guys that would give Gooden a problem if he's going to get a problem from anybody. And Dorn skies the ball. If it comes down, he's out. 2 outs. I'll tell you, Dwight Gooden will supply a lot of power. The reason that ball was so high was thrown hard. That's right. That's right. Boy, it's great to watch Dwight Gooden from up here.
I'll tell you something. My first professional game was in the Instructional League in 1969. And the first at-bat I had was against an 18-year-old out of Louisiana high school named J.R. Richards.
Oh, boy. And he had no control.
No control.
Oh, my heart.
He either hit you, walked you, or struck you.
Well, the batter right now is Greg Reynolds. He hits a bullet down the right field line. Strawberry hustling over, gets the ball back in. Once again, Reynolds the type of hitter that gets the head of the bat, slaps the ball.
Here's what's happening elsewhere in the National League. Montreal over Atlanta 5-4. Philadelphia shutting out Cincinnati 4-0, 8th inning. 1-0 San Diego over Chicago in the 6th. The Pittsburgh Pirates lead the Dodgers 2-0 in the 4th inning out on the coast. We'll give you the American League a little later. And the Mets, of course, winning here 4-1. So the National League East sort of holding pat at this point.
And Denny Walling, the batter, he slide to center, get into a force play and walk. He's a good hitter. The Astros feature some good hitters. You know, you mentioned that J.R. Richards. I faced him in his first major league game in San Francisco. He struck out 15 guys. I believe it's still a record. And Walling pulls the ball foul. I got the call in about the 8th inning. It was the second game of a doubleheader. The Astros on the field, bases loaded, 2 outs. I get the call to hit against this guy. He blew me off the field as you look at Jesse Orosco. And the best line of all was I got in the dugout. All he was throwing was fastballs, about 105 miles an hour. I got in the dugout. Charlie Fox was managing the Giants. He said, "We have his pitches." I said, "That wouldn't help."
No. I do too, but it doesn't help.
That's right. No
Thanks
balls. Excuse me, Steve. No balls and 1 strike on Wally. No balls and 2 strikes. This kid here, as we talk about J.R. Richards, is a better pitcher at his age. You faced J.R. at that age?
Without a doubt. Dwight has it.
Number 11. How about that? He ran out of games.
Oh, here they come.
Here he comes. There it is.
They better bring about 18 every time. You never know when Dwight's going to go.
Look at this. Well, there's the score. Gooden mania here at Shea Stadium.
That's your number 1, too, partner. Steve Zabriskie with you from Shea Stadium as Fran Healy has made his way down to the field for a post-game interview. So stay with us here on Sports Channel as we go to the 9th inning. And a 4-1 New York lead. Dwight Gooden going after his 3rd complete game of the year. He'll face Jose Cruz, Jerry Mumphrey, and Enos Cabell. Cruz has been the toughest on Dwight tonight. He's 2 for 3 with a pair of doubles, and Dwight has not been able to strike him out while fanning 11 Astros. Fouled away, strike 1. Cruz, arguably one of the best hitters in baseball. He's been very patient with Dwight tonight and gotten himself ahead in the count in 2 of his 3 at-bats. He's behind now, 0-2. Dwight has struck out 11 through the first 8 and only walked 1. Line drive, 1 hop. Healy Brooks scoops it. Can he get him? No. Jose runs very well. And once that ball climbed up Healy Brooks' arm, he was going to be safe. And I would imagine it's going to be an infield base hit as it's very hard hit. Again, the high pitch. It'll be the 3rd hit of the night for Jose Cruz. Hubie stayed with it, but Jose runs very well. So in the 9th inning, Cruz is aboard to lead it off. 6 hits now. Make that 7 off Dwight Gooden. And Jerry Mumphrey, who has struck out twice and grounded out, will be the hitter. Mumphrey, who ordinarily is a contact hitter, has had trouble getting around on Dwight's fastball and does so again. Unlike the last time Dwight struck out 11 against the Montreal Expos when he lost 2-1, the Mets have provided him with enough offense tonight. Strike 2. Mumphrey stares at home plate umpire Dutch Rennert in disbelief as it was very close. But Dutch called it on the inside corner. Hernandez not holding Cruz on, even though Jose runs well. The Astros are down by 3. 1-2. Gooden's 11 strikeouts of Houston, even more impressive when you consider the fact that the Astros are not a ball club that strikes out a lot. Cruz is running, and the pitch is fouled away. So not the straight steal, as you would not expect in this situation, but the hit and run is on. However, the pitch fouled off. It's still 1-2. Dwight with his 11 strikeouts now with 124 on the season, tied right now with Fernando Valenzuela for the National League lead. And there is a new leader in the National League. Number 12 comes down to the railing of the upper deck in K-Korner. And Dwight, with 125 strikeouts, passes Fernando Valenzuela by 1. 1 out. Cruz still at first base here in the 9th. And Enos Cabell, who was 1 for 3, a single to right, and 2 stolen bases in the 5th inning. Cabell has also struck out and flied to center. Curveball and a beauty. Better than 24,000 on hand at Shea as they begin to chant. On Cabell. You may be witnessing the only game in which Dutch Rennert has worked behind the plate and never been heard calling a strike. Curveball and just fouled off. Cabell had to leap out of his shoes just to get a piece of the bat on a piece of the ball. You talk about just getting it. Enos almost fell down. Dwight Gooden has not only had that 90 miles per hour plus 90 mile per hour fastball, but his curve tonight has been outstanding. And he has mixed in the changeup just enough. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Right up the middle, a base hit to center field. Jose Cruz will motor for third. Mookie overruns the ball, but Cabell cannot advance from first. So hit number 8, and the Astros are not finished yet. Runners at first and third. Still only 1 out. No error on Mookie on the play, as Cruz figured to go to third anyway, and Cabell did not advance. Terry Poole, who is 0 for 3. He has struck out once, flied deep to right and flied to shallow center, but Davey Johnson may have seen enough. The crowd, of course, is not going to agree with Johnson's decision if he does make the change, and he is. Poole is a left-handed hitter, and Davey wants Jesse Orosco. What an outing for Dwight Gooden. He has allowed only 1 run. He has allowed 8 hits through 8 1/3 innings. He has struck out 11, make that 12, an even dozen, while walking only 1. Dwight just continues to impress, more so than the time before with each successive start. 12 red Ks in the K-Korner down the left field line in the upper deck here at Shea. Gooden plenty. And you don't have to go to the theater to get it. You can get it right here at Shea about every 5th day when this 19-year-old outstanding young man takes the mound. Listen to this ovation. Jesse takes his warm-up tosses. Here's what's happening in the American League. The Yankees shutting out Texas in the third, 5-0. California continues to set the pace in the American League West. They beat Toronto 6-3. Kansas City took the first of two, 9-3 over Cleveland. They lead in the fifth inning of the second game, 2-1. And a much-deserved curtain call. Gotten 21 decisions in 25 previous outings, either a win, a loss, or a save. And he's finished 22 of the 25 games in which he's appeared. Jose Cruz is at third base. Enos Cabell at first base. There's one out here in the ninth inning with the Mets holding a 4-1 lead. Cruz led off with a single. Mumphrey struck out, and Cabell followed with a single. And Terry Poole will be pinch hit for, as the left-hander against left-hander will not be allowed to hit by Houston manager Bob Lillis. Jim Pankovitz pinch hitting for Poole. And Orosco's breaking ball is inside for ball one. Pankovitz is hitting .333. He's only appeared in 15 games with 30 at-bats. As a pinch hitter, .333 as well. 3 for 9 with no RBIs. Ball two. Hodges reminding Orosco to get up on top. Often not a popular reminder as far as a pitcher is concerned. And don't forget to stay with us here on Sports Channel for Pennant Chase with Fran Healy right after the ball game. Popped up down the right field line. Hernandez giving chase. Backman going over. Keith can't get it. It would have been an unbelievable play, and probably Cruz would have been able to tag up and score from third if Hernandez had made the catch in foul territory. Long way to go. He gets there, can't quite get the glove on it. Obviously, the Mets would have given up that run to get the out. Hernandez made the effort. As you look at Dwight talking to Fran Healy, who's in the dugout. I wonder who Fran's post-game guest is going to be. Fran's ready. What a great young man that Dwight Gooden is. 2 balls, 1 strike on Pankovitz. 2-2. Now the chant of Jesse, Jesse. Curveball, hard hit ball to short, could be 2. Backman does not get a good shovel from Gardenhire, but holds on to get the play at second base. Cruz scores to make it 4-2 New York, as Pankovitz reaches on the fielder's choice and picks up an RBI. Sharply hit ball to hit the mound, and Gardenhire kind of had to adjust, and then he didn't make a good toss. Backman stayed on the bag and kept the ball in his glove to get the lead runner. So 2 away here in the ninth. Retired 6-4. And another pinch hitter, Ray Knight. We talked about Knight not being in the ball game. That .235 average is part of the reason. Ray has not been hitting lately, but he'll be called on here in a rare situation to pinch hit. Knight has not been up officially this year as a pinch hitter. Overall, 2 homers, 24 RBIs. So Mark Bailey, the switch hitting catcher, is out of there, and Ray Knight will try to keep it alive for Houston against Jesse Orosco. Two out with Pankovitz at first base. And a fastball strike to the knee. 304 last year. Jesse took something off that one, and it's low and inside, 1-1. Breaking ball on a beauty. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jesse with that off-speed breaking ball had Knight frozen at the plate. Now the crowd really gets going as the Mets are 1 strike away from victory. Dwight Gooden, in striking out 12 and going 8 in the 3rd innings, has picked up his 7th Major League victory. He's now 7-5 as the Mets keep pace in the National League East and win their 3rd game in a row. Mike Scott, the former Met who started for Houston, is the loser. He's now 4-6, and Jesse Orosco picks up his 15th save of the year in relief of young Dwight. And deserved congratulations all around for the Mets' outstanding right-hander. We'll be back to Shea with a recap of the game. Fran will have an interview, so stay with us. Once again, the final score, the Mets 4, the Houston Astros 2. Zabriskie back here with you here at Shea Stadium, along with Fran Healy, where the Mets have won their 3rd in a row, and Dwight Gooden has done it again. Not only has he picked up his 7th victory, but he has turned people on. 12 strikeouts in the ball game for his 7th victory of the year, a 4-2 win over Houston in the first of this 3-game series. Dwight putting people in the seats and creating unbelievable excitement here at Shea. He couldn't finish the ball game. Davey Johnson has shown a propensity to be quick with the hook, especially with his young 19-year-old right-hander. Jesse Orosco got his 14th save of the season. Now let's go down to the playing field where Fran Healy has the star of tonight's game. Fran?
Okay, thank you very much, Steve Zabriskie. And my guest obviously would have to be Dwight Gooden. Once again, Dwight, you were magnificent. You had the good fastball, the great curveball, and this place is going wild for Dwight Gooden. What are your emotions?
Well, coming into the game, it was a big game for myself and as the team, and I needed this victory, and I went out there with a lot of confidence and gave it all I had, and my curveball was a big fight in a nice game, and made my fastball look quick, and my changeup came in certain situations, and Ron Hodges called out outstanding ball game.
Dwight, what was your reaction when they said, okay, you're going to be with the Major League team? Were you frightened at all?
Well, I wasn't really frightened. I didn't really hear it till the last day, and it was like the 6th inning, last game that Sunday. We was leaving out that night, and I was kind of worried, was they going to take me or was I going to get the, to know? And when David told me I was the 4th man in the rotation, at the time I didn't know how to react, and I was thrilled, and it took me about 3 or 4 minutes to get myself together.
There's been a lot of people that walk out on the mound in the major leagues, but nobody at 19 years old with that great curveball, great fastball, and with control. Well, did you have to learn this?
Well, it took me a while. Coming through high school, it was kind of tough, and when I was behind the count, I couldn't throw the curve to go on the fastball, and, high school you get by, and then my first year rookie ball, it was kind of tough, and last year, John Cumberland, pitch coach, helped me out a lot, and down instruction ball, and this year, Mel Stoudemire been helping me, and, veteran players helped me also, and things starting to fall in place.
Dwight Gooden is now 7-5. As Steve Zabriskie mentioned earlier, he could have 10 wins. He struck out 12 tonight. A lot of excitement here at Shea. Now back upstairs to Steve.
Thanks, Fran, and congratulations, Dwight. We'll be back here at Shea for a complete highlight wrap-up of tonight's ball game, so stay with us right after this message. And 12 Dwight Gooden strikeouts of Houston Astros have won the first of this 3-game series 4-2. It didn't start out like a good night for Dwight, however. Leading off the very first inning, Bill Doran tripled, just slapping that ball into left center field. Mookie tried to catch it, and when he couldn't get it and had committed himself, the ball rolled all the way on the warning track. And with the speed of Doran, he wound up at third base. This is with nobody out. Then Craig Reynolds, the next batter, hit a fairly weak ground ball to second baseman Wally Backman. That drove in Doran, and it was 1-0 Houston. Then Jose Cruz doubled, still in the first inning, right down the right field line. Strawberry over to get it as he was playing Cruz more towards center field, and Cruz made a base-running error. He ran past second and then tried to go back, and in doing so, Gardenhire tagged him out on the relay from Backman. Dwight got his first strikeout of Enos Cabell in the bottom of the second inning. Also in the bottom of the second inning, as the K-Korner got going, and we're happy about that, Terry Poole, a tough left-handed hitter, went down swinging. Number 2 for Dwight. Strawberry in the bottom of the second tripled off the left field wall as Jose Cruz went back but couldn't catch it. Darrell's great speed sent him to third, and then the Mets were in business offensively for the first time in the ballgame. Hubie Brooks, the next batter, followed for New York. The infield was drawn in, and Hubie hit a ground ball. Shortstop Craig Reynolds let it go through. Strawberry scored, and Hubie with great hustle went all the way to second. 1-1. In the top of the third, Mike Scott, the pitcher, went down swinging, and the leadoff batter, Bill Doran, was the next hitter. Doran went down. 2 more for Dwight, and that ended that inning. In the top of the fourth, Jerry Mumphrey. And in the top of the fifth inning, as the K's are all over the place, not just in K-Korner, Mark Bailey, number 6. Once again, Mike Scott, the pitcher, had to face Dwight. Scott was pitching very well early in the ball game, and again Scott was struck out. That was the 7th for Dwight. Then offensively, Dwight contributed as the K-Korner was busy. In the 5th inning, men on first and second, Gooden, a sacrifice bunt and a little mishandling allowed him to beat it out for an infield hit. Wally Backman followed with a double to right center field. Ron Hodges and Ron Gardenhire scored 2 more runs. It was 3-1. The Mets leading the Astros at this point. And here's what Wally Backman did to make himself safe at second base. As he was going to be out by a mile, he stopped, and Doran, in trying to tag him, had the ball in both his hand and his glove, but neither won. In the top of the 6th inning, Dwight continued to mow him down. He struck out Bill Doran once again. For the 2nd time, Doran went down swinging. With 2 outs in the 6th inning, Dwight finished it off. Jerry Mumphrey, number 9. Then the Mets picked up an offensive insurance run. Gardenhire led it off in the 7th inning with a single. Terry Poole bobbled the ball for an error, allowing him to go to second. And Gardenhire was standing there. After a sacrifice by Gooden, Gardenhire was on third, and Wally Backman squeezed bunt really delighted the crowd as he beat it out and drove in the 4th run of the game, and it was 4-1 New York. Gooden had all he needed. Kevin Bass pinch hitting for Vern Ruhle, victim number 10. Then in the bottom of the 8th inning, Denny Walling, number 11 on the night. And finally, Jerry Mumphrey, who had already struck out twice in the game, came to bat in the top of the 9th inning as the K-Korner was dancing. We thought for a moment they had run out of K's, but they found one somewhere, and Mumphrey became victim number 12. Mumphrey could not handle Gooden all night long. Then Ray Knight, pinch hitting Jesse Orosco. In relief, Knight goes down swinging. Jesse picks up his 15th save, and Dwight Gooden has his 7th victory of the year. His record now 7-5.